Hello and thank you for joining us. Today on Take 5, I have Judy Kucharuk with me. Judy, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Now, Judy, I know you as a blogger, so I read a lot of your material online.
Thank you.
But here in my hands, I have your very first book.
I know. So exciting. I'm really thrilled about it. Naked Tuesday, my first book, so I'm pretty thrilled.
How does it feel to actually see your thoughts and your words come into a physical copy like this, something that's not online?
I actually have to tell you, when I first got the book when I got a proof mailed to me, I took it out and I actually cried a little bit, just because it's so emotional to put yourself out there like that, and then when you actually see the fruit of your labors, it's pretty emotional. So I cried a bit.
Yeah, understandable. Now I have to ask first, tell me about the title.
Lots of people ask about the title, and the title is quite unique. Naked Tuesday is, we all know that I'm not going to spend Tuesday naked. Well, not every Tuesday, but Naked Tuesday is more of a mindset. My kids were gone out of school in my early 40s. They were both graduated and gone from home, and so Naked Tuesday became kind of a mantra. Like, the kids are gone, the house is empty, and I've got my life back kind of way to think. So Naked Tuesday is symbolic in that way.
All right, I understand. Yeah. Now, Judy, what can people expect right here in the Peace region? How would somebody right here in the Peace be able to relate to this book?
Well, for a few years now, I've been a columnist for the Alaska Highway News, and also an online columnist with CBC Radio. And I think people have got to know me, and they can relate to a lot of the things that I share. I'm a mom. I'm now a grandma. I'm a small town girl. I grew up north of here, not too far. And I think maybe just the way I speak plainly and simply, and I like to inject a lot of humor into what I do. So lots of folks tell me that they can relate to it. It's like, oh my goodness, that happened to me, or that kind of thing. So I really like that.
Now, I'm going to have to say, I did notice the humor in reading your book. You're very funny.
Thank you. So
it is a very good read that way, and also you do have those great stories about growing up on a farm there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I lived in a small town called Worsley. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of here. I was born in Fairview, and I grew up there till I was about 12 years old, and then my dad had a massive heart attack, and we moved away from the farm. And honestly, that for me was a defining moment in my life. I was a very, very naive, sheltered young girl, and we moved from this very small town, and we moved down to Vancouver Island, and it was just a complete culture shock for me. So as a result, I think when people read the book, they're going to see how some of the struggles that I had trying to cope with being in a much more worldly place, and how some of the things that affected me. I talk very candidly about my struggle with depression over the years, and things like that, and my OCD and other things that I've learned to cope with. But I do think that a lot of things happened to me, my mindset, as a result of being that young child, kind of ripped away from all I knew, and then moved down to the big city. So yeah.
Sounds like a tough moment there with your father, definitely. Mm-hmm. How was it challenging to write about those moments?
When I write, and if I write something and I look at it and I say, if I just dig a little bit deeper, it would probably make more sense. It would be more cathartic for me. So when I did start writing, and I started saying, Leo, if I'm going to start talking about depression and things like that, I need to be honest about it. And so I dug really deep, and I tried to paint it visually, try to get people to feel what I was feeling right then, and perhaps they would be able to relate to it a little bit more. Yeah.
Now, I did also notice that you have also some poems in the book as well, so yeah. It's kind of a neat little project. Yeah. How long did it take you to put this together?
Well, I said in 2012 I was going to write a book, and then I said in 2013 I was going to write a book, in 2014, and I'm actually glad that I didn't do it back then, because I didn't know what I wanted to write. I didn't know how I wanted to come across. And the deal with creative nonfiction or nonfiction in general is that, you have to have people know who you are at first in order for them to be able to relate to the book. So 2012, nobody was really ready or maybe even want to hear the message. But maybe 2016, I've, got a few more fans out there, and I know a few more people, and I think that I've generated a bit of a fan base that would enjoy it. So 2012, I'm glad it took me that long to do it. Did it take me that long to write everything? No, but it took me that long to evolve to a place of where I really wanted to write it. So.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I've heard quite a few people that I've grown up with say, one day I'm going to write a book, and it just seems like something that people want to do, but to actually be able to compile everything, it's quite the task.
It is really hard. I could probably write a book about writing a book and the things that I've learned and the lessons that I've learned. I was so fortunate to have some really great mentors along the way. This past year, I've reached out to a few individuals who have written books and have been very successful at it, just to get some tips and tricks and guidance along the way. So definitely learned a lot. We'll do things completely different. Not completely different, but probably a lot different the next time. So.
Well, good. There will be a next time. I can tell you, I've started to read this, so we're looking forward to the next one already.
Thank you.
Now, I noticed right off the bat here, the very first page there, you dedicated the book to your mom. Tell me about why you did that.
Well, my mom is my everything, and as a school teacher, she was a school teacher when I was little. My grandmother was a school teacher. She fostered my love of words and reading. She's always supported me. She always is my biggest fan, and it was just for me, it was a no-brainer. Like, Mom, I honestly don't think that I would be the person that I am today without the strength of my incredible mother. So I thought it was a perfect thing to do.
It's a very, very nice tribute for Mom as well.
Thank you.
Now, do you have any advice that you can think of right off the bat here about what you might say to somebody who says that they want to write a book? They have a lot of thoughts in their minds, but they're just struggling to get those first words down on paper?
Well, I think sometimes you just need to write. Just write every day. Writing is like, it's a muscle, right? And they do say that, it's like a muscle. So write every day. Start off with maybe a 30-day challenge where you're going to write something every day. And then that 30 days will be 60 days, and then that will be 90 days. Starting a blog is a really great way of doing it as well, because you're in complete control of what you post. So it doesn't matter if no one's reading it. I mean, I'm sure at some point, I always could say, well, at least my mom is reading my stuff. But there's something really great about writing it and posting it on the blog. Then you can get some feedback from others. People share it. It helps gain your confidence, that kind of stuff. So I just say, start writing, develop that muscle. I really think it's important. Yeah.
I think, like anything, practice always makes perfect, so it sounds like that would be the advice there. Now, I have a copy right here in my hands. I know that the book is available on Amazon now.
Yes, it is. Yeah, my first book, I guess you'd call me an indie author, but I did the self-publish route, and I do print on demand. First of all, because I didn't want to have 1,000 dusty copies in my garage at any one time, and print on demand is quite sustainable as well, because they only print when orders come in. But having said that, so if you live far away, you can order from Amazon.com, not Amazon.ca, but Amazon.com, and you can search it by the title Naked Tuesday. But I also will have it at the Old Creek store after my book launch next week. So
Perfect.
I'll have it for sale there, and so folks that are local can pick it up there. Also, I'm speaking with the folks at Coles in Fort St. John, because they support a lot of local authors, and probably I'll speak with the outlet in Grand Prairie as well.
Excellent. Now, I understand you also have a book launch coming up on a Tuesday.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
Yes. Well, Naked Day, I'm going to launch on the Tuesday, but like I said, everybody has to come clothed. We're all going to be wearing clothes, because it would be a totally another story if we didn't. But yeah, I'm doing it at the Energy House at Northern Lights College between 7 and 9 on the 23rd. And I've ordered in quite a few books to have. I'm going to do a bit of a signing and say a few words and honor a few few of the people that helped me put the book together, like my amazing graphic designer, and the original art was done by a local person as well. So I really want to make sure that those folks get honored. And I want people to be able to meet Bob, because my husband Bob features quite a lot in my book, and a lot of people want to meet Bob. So I don't know if they know if he's real or not, but they're going to meet Bob.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. I will be there as well. Judy, thank you so much for joining me and telling me more about your book here, Naked Tuesday.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we'll see you next time.